This show contains profanity, advice you should never follow, humor that you might not enjoy. The names have been changed to protect the guilty. Do not try this at home.
Greetings, yellow blazers, blue blazers, pink blazers, ice cream lovers, ice cream haters, Bill Bryson lovers, Bill Bryson haters.
Naked hikers?
No.
Mega mooners?
Ooh.
Is that what it's called?
What is it?
Supermoon? Mega moon?
Supermoon.
Super mooners?
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Welcome to the Pox and Puss podcast. My name is Pox Holiday, and sitting to my right,
Puss in Boots.
And on today's podcast, we're going to talk about ice cream, the supermoon apparently, and
Adventure movies.
Adventure movies. Be right back. I don't know why I did that.
Feel good?
I feel better. So I have smells about me today. Yeah, because I showered at my mom's house. Didn't bring any soap with me, so I have a collection of various scents on me. Did you notice?
No.
I didn't smell like a Right Guard soap and a.
You smelled like summer's eve. I was wondering.
Yes. I am a douche, and that's why I don't eat salt and vinegar chips, man. Douche chips, as far as I'm concerned.
What?
I don't know, like salt and vinegar chips. They got the vinegar. I just don't like the way they taste. And so I've just always referred to them as douche chips.
Alrighty.
I think this is the type of immature chatter people talk about every once in a while.
This is exactly what we've been instructed to weed out. By at least two people.
At least two people. I got in the car on my way over here, and I was like, I can smell myself, and I can smell three distinct smells. One, some type of hippie deodorant that I never used before. Two, I used a Right Guard body wash, which just makes you smell like you've just pretty much rubbed Right Guard deodorant all over you. And then I used some type of shea butter shampoo kind of thing. Like,
wow.
Yeah. So I have a lot of different smells about me. I got in the car, and it reminded me of Naked Hiking Day.
Huh.
I'll explain.
Not where I thought you were going with that, but I'll take it.
Yeah,
Go for it.
On Naked Hiking Day, I was very close to Harper's Ferry. Like, I think we camped like 5-6 miles outside of town. And just kept wanting to get naked. But as you're coming into Harper's Ferry, there's like several road crossings in a row.
It's pretty busy.
Yeah, and we stopped, and we're both kind of standing there like, we should do it because we're getting close. We should do it. And it was like, I don't know. Like, we're like a half mile from the road. I'm going to be able to do it long enough to get dressed again. And I remember right after we decided not to go do Naked Hiking Day yet, about, I don't know, like 30 seconds after that, I could smell Ivory soap. Like,
you smell people before you see them.
Yeah, and and that was one thing I was like, did that happen to you?
Yeah.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah.
And it's like you could smell someone who showered that day.
It is sickeningly sweet when you're not used to it. They walk by you and you're just like, Jesus, Grandma, go easy on all the shit. And then you're just like, she probably smells totally normal, and you just don't realize it.
Yeah.
Like, her clothes are fabric softenery, and she washed herself with soap, and, maybe put some hairspray in her hair, and all of those smells are completely overwhelming when you haven't smelled them for a while.
Yeah, and that's exactly what happened to me that day. It was just like, ooh, I smell somebody. And then, like maybe 20 seconds after I smelled it, boom, they popped up, and it was like they were a good ways below me. It was probably longer than 20 seconds, like a minute or two. And they just like pop up out of nowhere, and you're like, oh. And they walk by, you're like, oh, you're what I'm smelling.
That is the smell.
Yeah, and a lot of times, like for me, Ivory soap was piercing. It was just, like it smelled so bad that I didn't want to be around the people. But I'm sure it, like in real life, it smelled great.
Smelled fine.
It smelled great.
Totally normal.
But I'm sure I talked about Naked Hiking Day in Harper's Ferry before, but just to recap, got there. My girlfriend lived maybe like 30 minutes away. She took Barf and I into town, actually into Frederick, Maryland, to go eat, shop, get replenished, kind of that kind of thing. And on our way back into Harper's Ferry that night, Barf and I had rented like a room or something somewhere. And so she was dropping us back off, and there were people like basically in their underwear walking through town. And and so we're kind of like, I recognize a lot of those people. That seems weird. Like underwear, like shorts, no shirts, no shoes. Like that's kind of weird. And then we dropped.
It must be laundry time.
Dropped Barf off, and then we were driving back through town. And I was like, "Do you mind?" She had a Jeep Cherokee, and I'm like, "Do you mind picking up some people?" I'm like, "I know where they're going. I know they're going down to the KOA." And she's like, "Yeah, sure." And we piled in like 9 people into the car. And I remember when we popped the trunk, one guy came out completely naked, or the hatch. One guy was completely naked. One girl was putting clothes back on, and one guy was pulling his pants back up from back around his ass. And it was like one of the only times in my life where I walked up and like, I really don't want to know. I really don't want to know. The 3 of you are in the back hatch here, and one guy just continued to walk around naked in front of the car, in the headlights. And I remember one guy in the car was talking with us, and he was like, "Thank you so much. Thank you so much for driving. We would have been in a lot of trouble. And meanwhile, this dude's like just basically standing in front of my girlfriend's car. This other guy's like standing in the car, just buck naked, with a semi. I mean, he was one of the guys who was in the back with the girl that was putting her clothes on.
Streaking to the auxiliary gym.
Yeah, and so this guy's like,
"Hi, honey.
Thank you so much. Thank you. You know, we really would have been in a lot of trouble if you hadn't. Jesus, that's a big dick." And and it was like, well, he's half hard from whatever the hell was going on in the back of the car, but but yeah, I don't. You and I were talking before this, and I can't recall exactly what I did on Naked Hiking Day. I feel like I got down pretty close to, but I don't remember actually. I'm 99% sure I didn't just like straight up hike naked because I was just too close to town.
Yeah. I know in 2009, Naked Hiking Day also was a Sunday, and also was Father's Day, and I was in a part of Virginia that was pretty dense with day hiking, and so it was like you couldn't. I almost want to say I was really close to the Shenandoahs,
Right?
And you couldn't walk anywhere that Sunday. There were families everywhere, and I love being naked, but I also love not getting arrested a lot. So
Right.
It was sort of one of those, like, I'm going to have to weigh my options here and opt to, not... I think I got naked on the trail for a hot second and then was like, I can't sustain this because
Yeah.
it will be my luck that I'll walk around a corner and there will be a full family of people trying to celebrate Father's Day, and I'll feel really bad. So
Yeah, that's where I feel like I was. I feel like I rocked a bandana for a short time.
Yeah.
Like just long enough to say that I was naked, but I mean,
yeah.
but I really also feel like it would have stood out more if I was actually buck naked. But
There was a brief amount of time where I had a buff. I was wearing a buff, like, as a sports bra kind of thing.
oh yeah, the old Survivor.
Yeah, yeah. And there was a tree in the campsite that had larger than average leaves.
Right.
And so I had that, like, Adam and Eve style over my private parts. My bits. My girl bits. And,
I actually almost laughed when you just said private parts.
private parts. I don't know why. I'm in like child PC mode where it's like, what do I need to say to not be in trouble? Yeah, but there wasn't a lot of being naked on Naked Hiking Day for me just because I was in a really populated area.
were you ever around anybody that just was just very comfortable being naked in general? Like, not just naked hiking day, but like other days?
There's like a level, like everybody has a level of modesty, and some people just don't, I guess. Like,
Right.
on the modesty scale, like there are people that are incredibly modest, and then there are other people that like you're talking to them and making eye contact with them, and then they like pull their shorts down and like change or something, and you're like, shouldn't we have talked about this first? And it's like, what? We're all just people. Like, that's that kind of person.
Right.
I hiked for a while. This is funny. I hiked for a while with two guys, and they were good buddies. They were hiking buddies, and I kind of like ended up hiking with them. But the two of them were the original hiking party, and then I was like kind of the third wheel. But the three of us got along really well. And one of them, on the modest scale, was the kind of guy that would change in front of everybody, but would turn around, so like he would just like turn his back to everybody, and then the next thing you know, there was this like pasty white ass.
I was like, I'm not going to show you my dick, but...
he always like had the attitude of like, I grew up swimming, so... And it's like, what does that mean? And he was like, I don't know, I've just been in a lot of locker rooms. This is just one of those things that you just do.
He's like straight up Durs from Workaholics.
Yeah, and it's like, no. I mean, it's cool. If you want to do whatever... I have been around so many varieties of people and their comfort levels with nudity that it's like, whatever, do whatever you want, but a little heads up. But it was funny because every time that he would do it, the other hiking partner of the three of us, so this guy would turn around and he would change. He had a pair of cotton pajama pants that he wore to bed almost every night.
Nice.
And but he would just turn his ass to everybody and pull down his hiking shorts and pull on these I think they were Simpsons. They were either Simpsons or like maybe
South Park,
Dr. Seuss, maybe like Red Fish, Blue Fish, One Fish, Two Fish. I can't remember.
They were Doctor Who sleeping pants.
But he'd pull the pajama pants back on. But every time his ass was hanging out, I would always say to the other guy, like, oh, look over there. Like, it's a bear. Or, look, it's a porcupine. Or like, oh my gosh, it's a mother raccoon and all of her babies. And every time he would look and like look right to this guy's white ass, and then
you're
just
pointing to the back of a shelter, and he's like,
yeah, look over there, it's a deer.
It's like, dude, after the third time, you're just looking at brown eye.
Every night for literally like at least 60 days. It never failed, and it was awesome. It never got less funny.
Yeah, I don't think I don't really remember being around anyone who was real big on just being buck naked all the time. I never really ran into anybody like that, especially no females. I would have remembered that, I'm sure.
Yeah.
But I didn't really run into a lot of just general naked folk. The guy that did get in front of the headlights, like he became known as like he would kind of get naked. I think he was just riding the wave of getting out of the back of a car in front of headlights and having a semi. I mean, like,
I guess that's the best way to own that situation.
Yeah, just be half hard and be like, oh, this is how it normally is. Oh no, this is limp. This is what it looks like whenever I go through.
Feast your eyes.
This is what it looks like when I go through TSA.
Yeah, it's cool.
I swear to God.
It's fine.
There's a story I've heard about that group of people we picked up who were naked, who, from what I've heard, and this is from people that were involved and people that were around, there's a hotel in Harper's Ferry, the big one up on the hill.
It's like a Holiday Inn or something.
No. It's like a fancy schmancy, like it's the, something. Right. It's like an ancient.
Like an inn.
Yeah, it's an inn. Okay. Yeah, it's like something like that. And so the people that were staying at the KOA who were walking through town, they had some friends who were staying in that hotel, but they were under the impression that it was like a bed and breakfast. And so there's like a really nice, somewhat like Victorian-esque kind of house next door to the hotel. And so from what I understand, like let's say there were 9 people in this party of people walking around naked in town. 8 of them went and hid in the bushes, and 1 of them went inside to go get their friends. And so they like go in
their underwear.
I think one person went in clothed.
They took a clothing collection.
Yeah,
they sent somebody in.
Yeah, they sent somebody in. They had clothes for the most part. I mean, because they're walking around during the daytime,
right?
And so they're walking around, and one person is like, "Okay, I'm going to go in and go get them." And so they go in, and they're like, "It's kind of a strange hotel. You have to put your shoes by the door," and they all have their coats hung up in this closet over here. It's kind of interesting. And the guy walked in and looked over, and there was like just some dude sitting in a chair watching TV in his living room.
Oh no!
And they were like, "Is this the blah 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 like hotel or whatever?" And the guy's like, "No, this is my house." And the guy's like, "Okay."
I am so sorry.
So he comes out the door like, "Okay, I'm so sorry. I'll talk to you later." And he comes out the door, and like the other people are in the bushes. They pop up like, "Hey!" They pop up out of the bushes, and he's like, "No, go." So they went around town, like kind of. They weren't terrible. I mean, like here, just to give you an idea, like 2 of the people in the group were over the age of like 55.
Okay.
So I mean, it wasn't just like a bunch of 20-year-olds running around town.
Probably good.
Yeah, I mean, it ranged from like 21 to 60. You know, in this group of 9 people, and so they wind up like, no, wrong place. So this group, they wind up making it onto All Things Considered on NPR for Naked Hiking Day. Like Naked Hiking Day makes it onto NPR in 1998 because this group was walking around town, getting into trouble, getting naked in various spots around town. So
if I had a nickel for every time.
I heard that a couple of days later, somebody was like, they came up to camp, they were like, "I just heard," like they listened to All Things Considered every day or something like that. And they're like, you won't believe what I just heard. You won't believe what I just heard. Meshach Singh or whatever her name is.
On National Public Radio. Our
fucking Harper's Ferry mixed on.
Our goddamn trail hiking shenanigan loving friends were just seriously interviewed by NPR.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Harper's Ferry, hold on. I'll be right back. I have something for us.
Is it a present?
Yeah.
I love presents.
So I handed Puss a...
Is it open?
Yeah, you can open it. I handed Puss a little miniature cooler.
Oh my god. Fancy boxes.
Some fancy boxes from one of our favorite people in the world, Miss Skylar Moon. She made chocolates and cookies.
Oh my god.
And she told me that in an email that she sent it almost about 2.5 weeks ago.
These are the cutest boxes ever.
They are. And that there were cookies and chocolates in there, and that the cookies wouldn't make it through 2 weeks.
Getting a phone call from Los Angeles, California. I don't know anybody in Los Angeles, California. Look at how cute they are. Sorry.
But yeah, so she sent these, and the biggest thing is that the cookies weren't going to last long enough, so I ate all the cookies and you get all the chocolates.
Okay.
Yeah. She told me to eat the cookies, so I ate them a couple weeks ago. Okay. But those have been in the fridge, so they didn't melt.
Yay.
So you got all kinds of chocolates.
They're so pretty. Oh, and these ones look like little logs.
Oh, I did have one of those because there were like 10 of those things in there.
This is awesome. Thank you, Skylar Moon also is the proud owner of 2 Pox and Puss t-shirts.
Yes, and if you want to buy your own Pox and Puss t-shirt, you can just go to thepoxpuss.com and you will see our contact information, the P.O. box, or just email us about them. What you think?
Yeah.
Not bad. Yeah.
Thank you, Skylar Moon. This is sweet. Literally.
Hey-o! So speaking of sweet stuffs, we had a little bit of a discussion about ice cream.
We sure did.
We had a heck of a discussion about ice cream. It's funny, when I was editing the last podcast, I realized We really didn't talk about the ice. We set it up like we are going to talk about it.
We also were going to talk about stickers, I think, and we didn't actually talk about stickers.
I think the main idea with the stickers
I told my Uncle Mike story, but about stickers being serious business, but that was about it.
And it made it into both the last two podcasts, but never was ever. There's actually one point in time I held out. I was editing, and it's just a random selection of us just kind of saying the word stickers, but that's about it.
Stickers.
That's about all. There was a stickers, they go on now jeans, not on cars or something.
Yeah.
But I think the big thing about stickers is that we just need to make our own Pox and Puss sticker. So we started talking about it kind of a couple of shows ago. The Ben and Jerry's thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now I've since found out from Mags from the Trail Show that there actually are like 2 unofficial Appalachian Trail flavors. One of them, there's a Ben and Jerry's store in Hanover. And there's another one somewhere else. I can't remember where the other one is. If I was handy, I'd have it with me.
Mm-hmm.
But there's another one. There's one called like the Blue Blaze. There's one called the White Blaze. But like they mix it right there. Like it's not like it comes to them like this. Right. If you, it's kind of like the In-N-Out burger menu. Like you kind of have to know to ask for it. Which is cool. But I mean, again, if Stephen Colbert can have Ice Cone Dream America, I'm pretty sure that the Appalachian Trail deserves its own, especially since, except for you, so many other people just, use Ben and Jerry's so much just to get those calories back. Here's a quick little fact. Past guest T-Bone, who was on, that dude's like 6'4", 145 pounds.
Total string bean.
Yeah, we used to be roommates, and there was one year where he ate a pint of Ben and Jerry's every night in order to try and gain weight. He's just one of those dudes that can't gain weight. He would work out, do whatever, and then he would...
I feel like medical tests should be done on him.
Yeah.
Like, how can his genes be reproduced to make a super soldier or something? Like,
right. Because he didn't start looking his age until like a year ago.
He's and I mean this in the nicest way possible. He's like almost a senior citizen.
Yeah.
And he's still like, oh, no big deal. I'll just rock out a, marathon hiking day after my trail run. Like,
yeah, exactly.
What?
And I think he got his first gray hair like a year ago. And it's like, you fucker. But you want to know where I had my first gray hair? So my wife, you do. So my wife and I are driving along in the car.
Where you had your first gray hair?
We're stopped at a stoplight. Out of the corner of my eye, I can tell my beautiful bride is just looking at me adoringly.
Yeah.
She's looking at me, and I look over at her in the passenger seat, and she's like, "You have a gray hair." And I was like, "Really?" And like, I'm not afraid of going gray. I don't give a shit.
Right.
And I was like, "Really? Where?" No, I just said, "Really?" She's like, "Yeah."
In your ear?
Out of your nose. And I was like, "Thank you, dear. Thank you.
Awesome.
Thank you." Yeah.
Oh.
But no, they've since started popping up. A lot of my gray hairs seem to be the ones that just want to stick out.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is.
My gray hairs have a pubic hair consistency
where
they just want to like twing, like, I'll have my hair in a nice neat ponytail.
The old pubic hair twing.
And then like, out of my hairline, like next to my ear or something, there will be like a 4.5 inch long bright white hair that's this like thick, kinky, curly, like I'm just gonna stick straight out northwest from your
popping
head.
Straight out of my nipple.
Yep. Don't like that.
I had a girlfriend that had hair that came out of her nipples.
Out of her nipples?
I'm not kidding you. There were like 4 of them at the cardinal points, and that was tough. I don't know where to go, but
should really not put that in there.
No, that's going in.
At the cardinal points. Really?
It was very awkward.
North, south, east, west.
We'll be right back.
Yeah, it got weird.
Yeah. It was worth a shot. We'll see if it makes it in. It will. Okay, so we need to get back to the ice cream.
Ice cream.
All right.
Speaking of nipples.
Alrighty.
What ice cream?
So what would your ultimate Appalachian Trail themed Ben & Jerry's ice cream be?
I was conflicted.
Mm-hmm.
Because part of me, the visual part of me, wants to make a flavor of ice cream that looks kind of like the Appalachian Trail.
Right, yep.
And the other part wants to make one that tastes like the Appalachian Trail. Which, you know, the taste one would be something along the lines of like, okay, like graham cracker and marshmallow and chocolate, or trail mix, or if you wanted to get really gross, like, you know, some Slim Jims or something.
Blisters.
Yeah, something really nasty.
Norovirus.
But I think what I've come up with is milk chocolate ice cream with bark chocolate.
Okay.
Not just marshmallow swirl, but toasted marshmallow swirl.
Right.
And some kind of like a raspberry swirl.
Ooh, I like that.
I think that's it's a little bit of the visual.
What's the raspberry for?
I want to say blood. Like I want to say realistically, like, let's put a little blood, sweat, and tears in this one.
Yeah.
That's for the hardship.
Okay.
But the rest of it's for the good stuff.
Yeah, I kind of went with the aesthetic trail
What'd you do?
Ice cream as well. I went with blue and yellow M&Ms, white chunk chocolate. So I got my blazes represented there. Yellow, blue, and white.
Okay.
The ever popular yellow blaze.
Yeah. Can't forget the yellow blazers.
Fully endorsed
God
by the
bless
ATC.
them.
And what was my other side? White chocolate, blue and yellow M&Ms. Oh, and I just figured for the looks part of it, coffee ice cream.
Coffee ice cream.
Yeah, because it kind of looks dirty. Like, because it's brown with little bits of browner in it.
Does it have little bits of browner?
Know what coffee ice cream looks like? Coffee ice cream is kind of
coffee ice cream just looked like.
It looks like a Pontiac 6000 LE, but like it's kind of a brownish thing, and then it has like specks of black and brownish. Yes, it's sprinkled with brown, much like all of the AT.
Yeah.
Is the blazes is the biggest thing. You could easily go with chocolate, I guess, just to be like mud.
You could do like a light milk chocolate with like just Oreo cookie.
Ooh,
or
Oreo
like
cookie
just,
dust.
Yeah, or like just brownie dust or something like that.
Yeah,
like
that'd be good.
Make it kind of look dirty.
Well, our ideas are great, but there are... I meant that to be for real, but
I liked it.
All right, let's see here. Let's see what these... See, there's one. Going through my Google voice, there's the one from the guy. 828.
I might.
Hey.
Call me back.
Driving from Silva to Franklin. Did you just fart? Let's see what happens.
Hey, Fox Puss. I was calling about your AT-themed Ben & Jerry ice cream. I think it needs to have Gorp as the crunchy extra ingredient. The base could be something like a peanut butter crunch or something like that with bits of M&Ms and chocolate chips in it. For some reason, it doesn't strike me that raisins would taste good in that combination, but who knows? Maybe it would be good. Not that anybody on the AT, after having so much Gorp and peanut butter sandwiches, would really want something like this, but it might be interesting. Thanks a lot. Bye.
Pardon me.
That was just perfectly timed.
Sounds like you're laughing at his idea.
I know.
This is when having a podcast makes you sound like a bigger asshole than you are.
It just was perfect timing. I don't know why he got me. It just... Ooh, it got me. It got me.
That's a great idea, caller, by the way. And I think raisins are a great idea.
Oh, no, fuck raisins. I hate raisins. I like raisins by themselves.
What about craisins?
Oh, fuck. Oh, I only like craisins.
What about dehydrated grapes?
Oh, I'm all over dehydrated grapes, but raisins, fuck them.
Okay. It's a trap.
I've got an ice cream flavor for you. How about the Appalachian Trail Privy Princess Peanut Butter Chunk? Love you guys. Bye.
Privy Princess?
Peanut butter chunk.
That's the grossest thing I've ever heard.
I told you there was one in here that just got me. It's just gone downhill from
Privy Princess Peanut Butter Chunk.
Appalachian Trail ice cream flavor name: Peppermint Pink Blazin', or Pink Blazin' Peppermint, or oh dear God, I haven't had coffee yet. Bye.
What's that last bit?
Oh dear God, I haven't had coffee yet.
See, we're really proud of you for calling anyway.
Yeah, wow. Pre-caffeine, please wait till after caffeine for this show. We're not that important. Pink Blazin'. What would you put in Pink Blazin'? Princess Pink Blazin'.
Oh, he said peppermint.
Oh, that's right. I'm sorry. I'm joining the two together. Princess.
Do not do that.
The Privy Princess. Princess Peanut Butter Chunk.
It should be called Privy Princess. Peppermint Patty.
Yeah.
Peppermint Patty Pink Blazin'.
I feel like bubblegum should be involved.
Ooh.
I used to always love a bubblegum ice cream as a kid.
Yeah, me too. But then I realized that it was disgusting later.
Well, you do have like a second job. It's like, I got this, but I've also got to hold on to this peanut butter.
And they're like cold frozen chiclets, like mini chiclets.
Yeah. You need a cup, like you got a spitter, like spit the bubble gum into and get to when you later.
I'm the person that has a grown man for a boyfriend that if we go to a place where they like hand scoop ice cream,
right? He's
like, yeah, I want the Superman swirl. And I'm like, honey, it is the exact same as the vanilla. It's just full of dyes, and it's going to stain your clothes. He's like, I know. Make it a double. I'm like, you and the 7-year-old boy are the only ones in this whole shop that are looking at the Superman swirl like it's delicious.
Is Superman swirl, is that something you get like a Cold Stone? Or is that just like a regular flavor?
I remember it was like we had only just started dating.
Yeah.
And we went to the beach and there was an ice cream shop at the beach that had it was like one of those where there's a billion little tubs behind glass and you point and
they have a Superman swirl.
They had a Superman swirl.
I think I know what you're talking about.
It looked like rainbow sherbet or something like that, but it was ice cream.
It's a rainbow vanilla.
And it was just vanilla ice cream with tons of dye in it. And I'm like, really? This is what you're gonna do? Oh boy.
Superman swirl.
Superman swirl.
Because I think Superman swirl is basically just bubblegum ice cream without the bubblegum. Yeah. It's just like the stains from the colors of the bubblegum.
Yeah.
But
inordinately bright colors too. It's like
I know the ice cream.
It's like it's a tie-dye t-shirt before it's been run through the wash a million times.
So what is your just like straight up favorite ice cream?
I'm a big fan of actually like a really good quality just vanilla ice cream. Like I like vanilla. There's I think it's like Kroger brand has a it's like chocolate that has little like little chocolate bits that has caramel inside of them. And then there's like caramel and chocolate swirlies in it as well. It's like kind of like a modified Moose Tracks, but like a little bit simpler. I like that. And the
throwback Moose Tracks.
Yeah, the vanilla ice cream in it is really good vanilla, so
You didn't do the half-gallon challenge, did you? Okay. Yeah. And again, I did. I think it was just Moose Track, so it was like the worst thing you could get. I think there were like 4 or 5 half-gallons left.
Anything that requires chewing. Did you do? I don't know if they had the Sunday Summit challenge in Millinocket when you were there.
No.
So the Sunday Summit challenge was gross. It was they served it in like a salad bowl, like here's the bowl of salad for the table, like all 4 of you can pull what you want out of this kind of thing.
Yeah.
It's like a giant plastic bowl, and they had there was I think 2 pints of ice cream in it, like that were different flavors, 2 full-size candy bars, like 1 full-size bag of M&Ms, like 3 different kinds of syrups.
Did you ever see Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure?
Well, I did. I'm sure he did.
Sorry. I realized as it was happening, I shot you. So you never saw Bill and Ted?
No, I'm sure I did. I just don't really
all I could think of is Napoleon at the ice cream place. Ziggy Piggy, Ziggy Piggy, and they bring out like what it sounds like a gigantic bowl.
Yeah.
And it's just like 35 different scoops of ice cream inside of there.
There was a very methodical like measurement system for what all went in it, and there were rules you could take as long as I don't want to say you could take as long as you wanted. It was like you had to eat it in less than an hour.
Jesus.
And you couldn't go to the bathroom once you had started, and you couldn't throw up. Once you had started, you couldn't throw up, and you couldn't go to the bathroom by yourself. They had to go with you. Yeah, they would make you crack the door, and they would stand outside of it while you were going to the bathroom and make sure.
Make sure you weren't throwing up.
Right, exactly. And I did like a full photo documentation of somebody doing their Sunday Summit challenge.
Ugh.
And it was gross. And for some reason, I think he didn't eat peanut butter or something like that. And so he there was something that he didn't eat, and so there was something. Maybe it was like peanuts. Like he could eat peanut butter, but he didn't eat peanuts, and so there was I can't remember what it was, but he was like, "Can you not put that in there?" And they were like, "We're gonna have to double up on something else." And it was they put twice the amount of syrups in it that they normally would have, or something like that. It was so gross.
Where was this at?
It was there's a cafe in Millinocket.
It's the Appalachian Trail Cafe?
Yeah.
AT Cafe?
And if you do it, then you get to sign a ceiling tile.
Ooh.
And
staple your bra up there?
Yeah, that was a big deal.
Behold, the Ziggy Pig, the single greatest ice cream spectacle known to man. Eat the pig, eat the pig, Ziggy, 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 Zig.
Anyway.
That Sunday Summit challenge was gross, though.
You know what? I saw a picture of the other day.
You got a T-shirt and the bowl that it came in if you finished.
I saw a picture of somebody somewhere along the trail. There's like a 2-pound cheeseburger. Like it's 4 half-pound patties, and it's stacked like 20 inches tall. Oh, man. I mean, I'm sure, you know what? I'm sure I would have done it. Had I been on the trail, I was 21. Yeah, I can eat all that. Like nowadays, I just look at that and go, that's just a really bad night ahead.
Yeah.
Like I don't see how that can be fun. But I think the sheer food challenges have just really been stepped up in the last few years.
I never did any of them.
Really?
Yeah, I just didn't find any appeal. I was such a cravings person. Like I had so many things that I really wanted to prioritize eating when I was in town.
Right.
That it didn't ever dawn on me. And I don't really like pancakes. There seem to be a lot of pancake eating contests, and I don't really like pancakes that much. Like I'll eat them, but they're not my fave, and so it was never like I'm gonna see how many of these I can eat. And,
I remember Barf did one of the pancake challenges.
Yeah.
But it was like it was one of those where like it worked out to be cheaper to go with the pancake challenge kind of thing, where it was like, I forgot what the cost difference was, but it was just like, basically it's like all you can eat pancakes is the way to look at it.
Right.
And it's not really like, I didn't beat it. I didn't eat all 18 of them. It's like, dude, I had 7 pancakes.
Yeah, it was a lot of
fucking
pancakes.
good. Yeah. And that's just really the kind, like, I don't think I did any other eating challenges other than the eating an entire blooming onion, and that was unprovoked.
That was totally
maybe that can be a new one.
Yeah, no, it was just sort of a like. I was happy to. I made a point to try things that were noteworthy for the area, like ate my first whoopie pie in Maine, drank my first Moxie soda in Maine.
Had a McDonald's lobster roll in Maine. Actually, that's one of my mistakes.
But I did have lots of lobster rolls while I was in Maine.
I didn't have a
not
single
on the trail,
one.
but in my flipping and flopping, I took like a week in Bahaba before I went back to there. Somebody died in Acadia National Park while I was there, and that's like all anybody could talk about. So I was just sitting there drinking beer and watching Harry Potter in the movie theater and eating lobster rolls.
Like, man, dude, some dude died in Acadia.
Oh,
hello.
Go ahead.
Speaking of ice cream flavors, while I was in Bar Harbor, there is an ice cream shop in Bar Harbor that has lobster ice cream.
I knew you were gonna say that.
And so, because I was like, I'm gonna try shit that you can't get anywhere else. I didn't want like a cone of lobster ice cream, but I said, can I have a taste of lobster ice cream? And they were like, yeah, nobody gets an actual serving of it. So we'll give you, we're happy to give you a taste.
How much do you want?
Yeah. And they actually gave me a little bit bigger than like an average, I want to say instead of a little baby taster spoon, they gave me like an actual spoonful of it. And I remember thinking like, this tastes like pretty good vanilla. It's like almost just a little tiny bit salty. And I'm eating it and I'm like, this is not bad. Except for that little bit of baby finger I just found in here. Like, that's what all of a sudden it was like this, like, cold flesh feeling amongst slightly salty vanilla ice cream.
Yeah, I'm guessing no matter what the meat, it probably isn't designed to be an ice cream. Like, bacon, I don't even see bacon being enjoyable.
I had one, like, Loco Pop one year made a, spiced chocolate bacon popsicle.
Oh.
But the chocolate ice cream in it was really thick and really like had like a chai spice to it.
Yeah.
And the bacon was like, it wasn't like lots of crumbles of bacon. It was like there was a piece of bacon in the popsicle.
Did that change the consistency though?
It didn't change the consistency, but it was just sort of like you're eating this popsicle and every now and then you'd catch like some salty bacon, and it was good.
Yeah.
It wasn't bad. It definitely wasn't one of those things that like, it was a novelty item. It's not one of those things that I don't think I've ever since then been like, you know what I could go for? Bacon chocolate popsicle.
Good old salty, chewy bacon.
Right.
I think, here I am, the guy who just said he liked bubblegum ice cream, but like with the exception of that, I just don't think chewing is going to be something involved in my ice cream.
Yeah.
See, what was this other one?
Yeah.
This could be the wrong one.
Hello, this is Dan, a.k.a. Lumpy, most recently a.k.a. the Blue Spruce from Washougal, Washington, and I have a flavor for you for the AT ice cream. It would be, I'm never letting anyone put their hands into my food again, but Stripe. Hi.
That's fair.
I'm thinking that's the norovirus flavor, fudge stripe.
That's gross. I admire that in you.
The 2013 brand exclusive. I came across a picture the other day. I was going back through. I re-upped my Pox Holiday Instagram account.
Yeah.
And I was going back through looking at some AT pictures and that kind of thing. And I came across one from the early days, and it was right after Easter. Somebody put a big bag of candy up in a shelter.
No.
And it was, I think, around the Smokies. I think somebody had gone to Gatlinburg. I can't remember who it was, and it doesn't matter. But there was a big bag of, like, free, take one kind of candy. Right about the time all those folks were getting the norovirus, and I was like, patient zero. a bag of candy.
I just remember
that one might be my favorite, but I'm not.
Yeah.
Anybody put their hand in my
put
food
your
bag?
goddamn hands in my. Ugh. Yeah, my woofer class was a backcountry class, so like we
Right.
met at a trailhead, and we carried learning tools like a whiteboard, and we set up like a school area. But basically, we backpacked and hiked and did all of our scenarios in the backcountry, and it was really
Right.
cool. But when we had our don't eat poop talk, the big part of the sanitation stuff was like, don't offer people things. Like, don't offer, if you got a bag of trail mix, don't offer it to somebody with like the open end towards them. Offer it to them like, here, I'll shake some of this in your hand if you want some.
Right. Yeah.
And like, it was one of those, it's like if you teach a group of kindergartners, like, you're gonna sneeze into your elbow, and then from then on, like, they're all making a really strong point to sneeze into their elbow.
Yeah.
It was like there's this non-classroom classroom of people that are all like, here, won't you take some of this,
Yeah.
gorp, let me pour some in your hands. But before that, let's take turns washing each other's hands and assisting with the hand washing process so that we're as healthy as possible. I don't think I've ever been
Mine
that
was for
careful.
real.
Yeah.
Like whenever, when I did my woofer course, the term "for real" came up because there's a lot of this times where you're doing the scenarios and you're
That
kind
was
of
your
like,
safety word.
yeah, it was kind of, it was your safety word kind of thing. And then we were basically told in our practical, like, hey, if you're bringing it in your pack and you become the patient all of a sudden, shit in your pack might get used.
Mm-hmm.
And, so you need to mark. So every once in a while, I'll come across something of mine, a piece of gear. And that was a few years ago. My woofer has since lapsed. But you come across something and it'll be written in it like, mine, for real. And it's kind of like, don't cut this up to make a fucking splint.
Right.
This is my waterproof stuff sack.
Right.
And it's not there. So yeah, every once in a while, there's this one orange bag I have, and
Mine for real.
I've taken it on so many trips, and people are like, fine then. I'm like, what? And they're like, mine for real. And it's like, no, never mind.
It's fine.
All right, so it's ice cream.
Hi, this is Master Sprinter, 2012 Thru-Hike attempt 100 miles with my pup, Bruce. You can find us on Instagram at Nick and Bruce. And I was calling in response to the request for favorite outdoor-themed movies. I figured I was heading out into the woods for about 6 months or something like that, and so I sat down with some of my friends that I'd known for several years and worked with, and we decided to watch a few really great movies to prep everyone for my departure. Grizzly Man, Into the Wild, and Deliverance. I think those are definite must-sees for everyone but your mom and dad when you're getting ready to leave for trail. Don't be that mean to them. Anyways, love the podcast and can't wait for the next episode. Bye.
So that takes us to our next subject, which is movies. You guys did such a great job with the flavors and all that. That movies, I'll be the first to say, like, I used to be a really big movie, I won't say buff, but like a really big movie fan of movies in general. And then I think my interest in going to the movies fell off. And then now I just don't enjoy sitting down for a 2-hour movie that often.
Yeah.
And so I started thinking about some of my favorite outdoor movies, not like documentaries, like Touching the Void. I don't know if you've ever seen that one or not, or like Grizzly Man, a few other ones like that. I would like to see Grizzly Man again now that I know a little bit more about Werner Herzog, the director. But a lot of funny Werner Herzog stories I've heard lately. But I'd like actual like movies, like Hollywood movies.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we got on this subject with, like as far back as Baltimore Jack with the whole, have you heard that it's now just a Robert Redford joint? It's not going to be Richard Linklater.
Really?
It's just going to be through Sundance Films or whatever, Robert Redford's movie company. But the A Walk in the Woods movie we're talking about there. But yeah, and so I started looking up, trying to figure out what other outdoor theme movies are out there. And there's one that a bunch of people brought up, which was I'm going to have to go back and look at it again, but it's the movie where Kevin Bacon is a raft guide.
Oh, yeah.
Like a 1980s one.
The Angry Raft Guide. He's like a killer raft guide.
See, that's the thing, because Skylar Moon brought up the other one. There's like a 1980 something.
There was like a hostage, like he was holding this.
Well, like Laura Dern or something like that,
he was holding
or
the family like
Helen
hostage, or
Hunt,
holding the dad hostage somewhere, and like they had to paddle against.
But
their
then
will
there's
or
like a whitewater paddling one, like a kayaking movie that I had never heard of until people started bringing that up, and I'll look it up here in a second.
Yeah.
And so there's a few like that. There are a lot of paddling, like Deliverance is one that comes up a lot. True Grit.
Mm.
I don't really feel like that. I think that's just kind of how folks fucking lived.
Yeah,
you know, if you're going. But let's see some of the other ones. Like for me, I thought just real quick off the top of my head, Great Outdoors, John Candy versus the bear, but mainly versus those raccoons that would get into their trash every night with he and Dan Aykroyd. Comedy of Errors.
Parent Trap.
Is that an outdoor movie? Are they go camping?
There's a significant camping scene.
Yeah, I don't remember the Parent Trap.
Where in there's the Lindsay Lohan version and then the original. I know the original was the one where when the stepmom or the stepmom to be is afraid of bears, and the girls tell her if you bang two sticks together, it'll keep the bears away. So she's like walking around the campsite like click 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 with sticks. Lots of people do that. The
Gray was another one that came up.
Never saw it. Oh, you know what? I think I saw like the beginning of it, and then I was like, nope, can't. Yeah, can't do it. I don't do scary movies, so.
It's funny though, like even after never seeing a moment of it, just through life in general, I know how it ends, and it's like, oh, okay, well, fine. And trying to think,
for like mainstream, I know Into the Wild was immensely popular. And I own
that's
it.
another one that comes up.
It's a good movie. I like it. You know, I'm one of those people that it's like, okay, it probably wasn't the smartest situation for Mr. Christopher McCandless to get himself into, but I'm pretty sure we've all done at least something that I know that I do stuff all the time that even if I try and keep safety in the back of my mind, like at some point, like the scenario of like what the worst case scenario could be like flashes through my brain, and I'm like, I could die right now and nobody would ever know. Like it's one of those sort of things.
Yeah.
So shit happens. 127 hours. I think you and I had a conversation about that movie a long time ago.
Yeah, I think we did.
About based off the book Between a Rock and a Hard Place. By what's that guy's name?
Dumbass.
Yeah, I know you.
Aaron. It's Aaron.
Aaron. Thank you.
Aaron Ralston.
My favorite adventure movie is 180 Degrees South.
I have heard a lot about that and been told to check it out.
It's really good. And
more on the documentary side, right?
Well, it starts out. I mean, it is a documentary, but it's like a documentary made by like a guy with a decent camera. So it's more of like him searching something, like seeking some truth, or he's actually trying to relive the road trip that Yvonne Chouinard and Royal Robbins and like all of these other like major key players in outdoor gear and climbing gear, like they all bought a VW van and drove to South America to go climb a mountain, and he wanted to retrace their footsteps.
Oh, okay.
And so he does that, and I think the more that those outdoor retailer individuals kind of knew about the project he was doing, the more they sort of like allowed him into their lives. The end turns, if you're and not to say that I'm not all for environmental activism, but if you're really into it, you're really gonna love the end. If you aren't as into it and you just want to watch an awesome climbing movie, it falls off a bit at the end. They start talking a lot about the I'm gonna butcher this Conservation Patagonica or whatever it's called, where they're trying to take all of the land back from I think it's like the hydroelectric plants and give it back to its original owners and it's pretty crazy, but it is a great movie and it's a really great, I mean, especially the first half is an amazing adventure movie and it's got some really great candid moments with some real key players in outdoor recreation. Without some of those guys, I wonder what outdoor recreation would even be right now. So pretty cool.
Well, according to neverstopexploring.com, here are the top 10 most loved outdoor theme movies as suggested by you. Ooh. The U is all caps.
All right.
Number 1, I'll go to the bottom. Number 10, The Great Outdoors.
Okay.
Number 9, Vertical Limit. Number 8, you're going to notice a theme with a few of these. Number 8, 7 Years in Tibet. Meh. Cliffhanger. One of the worst movies ever made. Cliffhanger. Followed by one of the other worst movies ever made. I can't fucking believe this. Without a Paddle.
Ooh, really?
That is one of the worst movies ever made. The Eiger Sanction. I didn't even think about that one.
Never seen it.
K2. Number 4. Number 3, A River Runs Through It.
Oh, that is a good one.
Yeah. Number 2, Touching the Void. And number 1, Into the Wild. I saw another top 10 list a couple of days ago, and they had like 4 Brad Pitt movies in the top 10. Like A River Runs Through It, 7 Years in Tibet. Shit. What's the one where he's like just he's just like buck naked strapped to a boat like I thought that was is that 7 Years in Tibet?
I thought that was A River Runs Through It.
Is it? Is he strapped to a boat underneath?
There's a part of A River Runs Through It where he falls asleep face down in a field and gets like completely sunburned, like he gets completely fried.
Oh,
like, on his whole back and his ass, and he can't get in the car. I feel like they maybe strap him to a car or something to like, I haven't seen A River Runs Through It since I was like 13, so...
There was a run of movies with Brad Pitt, like 7 Years in Tibet.
There was also a crazy run of extreme climbing movies in like the 90s, where it was just like one after another, like...
Strap on the nitro. Remember that? What was that one where the guy's like, strap on the nitro?
I have no idea, but it was like every single one was like, we're going to climb Everest and people are going to die and we're going to step on their bodies on the way there and it's fine.
Here's another list here. And this is one that I've been told I need to see. I've never seen it, and I kick myself for not seeing it. But Jeremiah Johnson. That is a Robert Redford movie, but that's from like 1972. There's one that pops up on a few of the lists as well. Dances with Wolves. Again, I kind of feel like that's just kind of how people lived. It's not necessarily like an outdoorsy movie.
Well, like Cold Mountain is an amazing representation of like what it was like to actually live at that time, and specifically in our neck of the woods of rural North Carolina, where it's like, the mountains of North Carolina, where what it was like to live there. It's supposed to be filmed in Jackson County. Like, they talk about Jackson County a bunch, but it's, it's just how people were living. It's not really it's interesting for sure. Because it's not like how we live now, but it's not really.
They also have Deliverance and A River Runs Through It on their list. The movie that I was thinking of with he's strapped to a boat below deck is Legends of the Fall. Yeah, that's the one where like Brad Pitt has like waist length hair, and like he's like on like a heroin, or he's like on an opium trip, and he's just like, it's just this great moment. I just remember my roommate and I rewinding it like over and over again just to see him.
I like the Deliverance keeps popping up as the movie for
the outdoor. Well, I mean, honestly, out of all the movies, it's one of the few where, I mean, like, I having never seen The Gray, I mean, I know that they were on a trip to do that, but like Deliverance, I mean, they set out to do basically what they did, just minus the squealing and the boat breaking and the canoe breaking apart kind of thing. I mean, they set out to go on a paddling trip, like to go into the outdoors. Whereas, like, I don't even remember Without a Paddle. Like, were they going on a paddling trip on purpose?
I think so.
I saw it 9 years ago.
I think it was like a college buddies reuniting and spending time in the woods together to like revisit their old friendship or something. And shit goes horribly wrong, of course.
But yeah, but like everything else, you know, like Jeremiah Johnson's supposed to take place in the 1840s.
Yeah.
You know, Dances with Wolves. You know, I mean, like all these other movies, with the exception of like, you know, documentary style.
Somebody on Twitter said, Wet Hot American Summer.
Yeah, that's right.
Which is awesome.
Yeah, I mean, that's, you know, they did what they set out to do.
They totally did. What about, like I'm looking right now at a stack of outdoor adventure books. I think that I try and read every single AT book that comes out, like all of the,
right,
you know, narratives. And there's more that come out every year, and there are some that I've been meaning to read and just haven't. But Walking North and A Walk for Sunshine and obviously A Walk in the Woods. And I keep trying to reread Walking with Spring, and a lot of times, like, when I try and read Walking with Spring, it makes me so nostalgic that it's like almost upsetting and I have to put it away. Like, it's really, that's the same reason why before the trail, I loved watching AT documentaries.
Right.
And I can't do them anymore because they make me think so much and so hard about my experience that it's like, it's basically like giving myself a high potency injection of Springer fever, and it's just like, it messes me up.
Well, that's why I still have yet to watch Tell It on the Mountain,
the
PCT documentary, because I didn't finish the PCT.
Right.
And and I'm blanking out right now on the guy that did it, that did the movie, but like, he sent us a free copy, and thank you very much for that. I promise I'll get around to watching it, but it's tough to watch.
Yeah.
Just because I know that, like, I didn't finish that. It's something I set out to do and didn't finish, and it's just kind of, you know, my wife doesn't want to watch it, and I'm kind of like, all right, I'll get around to it, and it's just one of those that just, it's going to take up some nerve for me to finally put that in, and it's like, but I will watch it. I'm sure that I've heard nothing but good reviews about the movie, and apparently they've had a few good opening weekend kind of things, like where they screenings, I guess.
Good.
But yes, I mean, that's one I wanted to mention. I'm glad you mentioned over there, since the movie's over there. Let's see, there were a few other ones on Facebook. You can find us at the Pox and Puss podcast on Facebook. The two Kevin Bacon movies. One, The River Wild. I think that's the one where he's the evil raft guide.
Yeah.
And then the older one is called Whitewater Summer. And it also had Sean Astin in it, is what somebody says here. Let's see.
What was there was a really awful movie in the 90s.
Blair Witch?
No, it was the guy that played one of the robbers in Home Alone.
Daniel Stern?
I want to say it was Bushwhacked, was what it was called. That was terrible. It basically was like this guy who poses, he's a criminal, but he poses as a scout leader. And he, like, takes a bunch of scouts, and they figure it out, and they, like, drug him. And
that's right,
like,
yeah.
It's a terrible movie. It was so bad, but it was outdoorsy.
I guess it's not a movie, but what about Canteen Boy from Saturday Night Live? Adam Sandler and Alec Baldwin.
Oh, man.
And it's just great because it's the one where he's like, hello, canteen boy. And like, all the other kids go on the bed, and he's like, my scout uniform is just too tight. And like Alec Baldwin's sitting there, like, unbuttoned his shirt all the way down, like, oh, canteen boy. And he's like, they showed it, and then like the next time I saw it, like on like when they syndication or whatever, like I can't remember, they either cut it out or they put like a disclaimer at the beginning of it, because it's like, here's a scout leader taking a bunch of kids out, and like it pours like the water of the canteen. It's just like, oh, canteen boy, you're so funny, He's just
milk lemonade.
Hairy nipples fudge is made.
Ew.
All right, let's see here. So a few other ones. Here's one of my favorites, and this came up twice. Ernest Goes to Camp.
Yeah.
Let's see here. Yeah, then Joshua Jordan, he's the one that mentioned Wet Hot American Summer. Somebody else mentioned Into the Wild, but said, Ernest Goes to Camp's a close second. Here's a good one. Stand By Me.
Yeah.
Because, they went for a hike. Yeah. They slept out by a fire. They saw a dead person and yelled at Kiefer Sutherland. That's what we all do on our backpacking trips.
Like you do.
Like you do. The Craft. Was that a witchcraft movie?
Yeah.
The Craft? I don't know. Deliverance, again, is mentioned. And then that one where Jodie Foster is a raft guide.
Which one is that?
I don't know. Cold, Wet, and Alive. That's apparently required reading. And a couple people mentioned this. Moonrise Kingdom. That's the Wes Anderson movie with Bill Murray and a few other folks. You should definitely check it out. It's a pretty good movie. Okay. It's along the lines of Zissou. Steve Zissou. What was that one? Whatever it was called.
Life Aquatic.
Life Aquatic. Yes, exactly. It's kind of along those lines.
Okay.
But it's good. Let's see. The River Wild. Let's see. Whitewater Summer. The one about El Camino. Also Blair Witch Project.
You know what I watched today?
What's that?
That falls in, I think I tweeted it as the very best, worst movie ever. Blue Crush. It's a surfer movie.
A surfing movie, yeah.
Kate Blanchett, I think.
There like in the outdoor, there were so many surfing movies.
Endless Summer would be a good one.
Oh yeah, Endless Summer wouldn't be bad. I just feel like there's something like, was there a backpacking movie? Like, have there been backpacking movies?
I'm sure there's like backpacking abroad movies.
The Hitchhiker with Rutger Hauer. American Werewolf in London.
Maybe Beach with Leonardo DiCaprio might fall in that category.
People, another one was Blue Lagoon. Was another one. It was outdoorsy.
That was my first porn ever.
The other one that came up, on another website that I can't find right now, but they just went ahead and just threw down, I know you won't like this one, but they just went ahead and threw down the entire series of Lost. Like, it's not a movie, but like they are in the outdoors, they are having to kind of get water, they're having the camp all of a sudden. I'd say it's more of one than Without a Paddle. Bears. They had the bears, they had
tornado people.
Yeah, they had everything. It's more of an outdoor movie than Without a Paddle.
Oh.
If it's a TV show, but you know what I mean, yeah. I think Survivor. And that's one that started up too, was TV shows.
Yeah.
Because then some people started getting with Bear Grylls shit and Survivor Man.
I guess Survivor Man just he's trying to travel abroad to do some filming, and he and his film crew got stopped at security, and all of their film equipment has been confiscated. And they're like stuck in some airport and have been for like, he posted a YouTube video or something of him like, well, we've been in this airport for 2.5 days now, and I don't know when we'll be able to proceed with our filming.
It's turning into Terminal with Tom Hanks.
It's such a sad movie.
And so long. Yeah, it was so long.
So sad.
But I don't... Well, you met someone who knew someone famous on the TV down near my house recently. A couple months ago. Maybe February. Moonshiners.
Oh, yeah. Oh, shit. I was at the flea market, and I can't remember what his name was now. Whoever was one of the main characters.
Skittles or something like that?
Skittles.
I don't know. I've never
remember.
watched a full episode of the show.
I was at a flea market, and like it was one of those crazy where like there's this like lady about my mom's age, like mountain redneck fabulous, like the kind of people that I love to sit down and be like, tell me about you, because this is awesome. And but she and like another guy about her age are on like an iPad on the flea market's Wi-Fi, like flipping through, and she's like, man, Skittles and I went to high school together, and he still hasn't accepted my friend request. He thinks he's all famous. He won't even say, I'm going to drive over across the mountain and I'll tell him what to do. And I was like, this is awesome. I don't even watch Moonshiners, and this is fantastic.
I saw one episode, and in that one episode, they showed like the approximate locations of where people are. And they were like, one was to the east of us and one was just to the south of us. It's like, we're surrounded by the Moonshiners. And, you know, I'm okay with that.
One of the guys that I work with from time to time has a house in the mountains, and his house in the mountains has a next door neighbor, and the next door neighbor just got busted, and apparently the police said it was the most polite like arrest they've ever had to deal with. They knocked on his door, he answered the door, and they were like, hey there, Bob. And he was like, hey guys, how you doing? You making moonshine? Yeah, I am. Can we see your still? Yeah, you can. It's in the basement. Come on. And they were like, it was spotless. You could have like licked any surface and been completely safe with that. He then said like, well, here it is, and you guys you're gonna just tear it all to pieces. Let me help you take it apart so somebody might be able to put it back together and use it one day. And they're like, okay. And so he disassembled everything. He had like 180 gallons of shine.
Wow.
And he was like, you guys are never going to be able to get all this in your squad cars. You need to borrow my truck and take it to the precinct and that. And they're like, no, we'll be fine. Wow. We should listen to the first phone call over again, and I won't fart at the end. I feel bad, because...
Oh, I can just play it. Okay. Like when I go back to record it. Yeah, when I go back to just record it, I can just play that.
I feel bad when people call in and then we don't, like, acknowledge them and celebrate them. So we've got some new, pretty awesome 5-star reviews on June 20th. By J.C. Rover. Big fan of the show. I've tried other outdoor and hiking podcasts, but most of them are too dry and with very or little to no humor. When you see the photo for this podcast, you know it's going to be enjoyable and fun to listen to. I highly recommend this podcast. It's as fun and good as a phone number I once found on a bathroom wall in Texas. Now that I've left this stellar praise, maybe Pox will stop begging for reviews on his social media accounts. Awesome, guys. Keep it coming.
Never. I will never ask. I will never stop asking.
You can never stop.
Shameless plugs. I really want to know about the phone number in Texas.
Mm-hmm.
I put it up on as soon, like, honestly, like that.
Kick his ass, Seabass.
Like that review showed up, and I think I had checked like the day before, and then I checked the next day, and it was like, I immediately went on Twitter like, I don't know who you are, but you really, really, really need to call in and tell us your Texas bathroom phone number story.
We got another one right after that.
Oh, really?
Yeah, on June 21st by Weedbender.
Ooh.
Awesome podcast. Definitely a comic relief from the bullshit out there on the road. Motivation for this trucker to hit the trail. Any trail.
Oh.
Which is great.
I know of 4 truckers that listen to us.
I bet the invention of the podcast had to have been like the best thing ever for the trucker community.
Yeah. Oh, God, yeah. I mean, and just being able to listen to whatever you want to, stop and start it.
Yeah.
I mean, I know for my mindless job, I mean, I burn through 7.5 to 8.5 hours worth of podcasts every night. And I listen to a lot of shit. But you know what? I don't really listen to a lot of outdoor podcasts.
Yeah, me neither.
I think it's just kind of one of those things where I don't want to... I know for me, I saw in White Blaze, a place I rarely ever go to because I don't like feeling bad about myself. But I went to White Blaze and I put up, hey, it was a Baltimore Jack episode. And I was like, hey, we've got Baltimore Jack, part 1, here he is. And like 10 seconds later, somebody was like, I miss Trailcast so much. And it's another older one. Like I think it stopped in like 2008, 2010 or something like that. And I've never listened to a single Appalachian Trail podcast. Like I listened, there was one, I can't remember what it was called, but they were basically just playing like a presentation that somebody gave, and like that was it. And I mean, nothing against any of them at all. Yeah. I just think my biggest thing is if I listen to them, I'm worried that somehow I'll kind of meld in some of their stuff, because, it's not a lot of subject matter to talk about. But, I think the trail show... The
trail show is good, and I've enjoyed... I haven't listened to all of their stuff, but I've enjoyed what I have listened to. Dirtbag Diaries is hit or miss.
Right.
Sometimes I really super enjoy... and sometimes I feel like I'm reading like outdoor poetry.
Right.
And it's not, it doesn't really scratch the itch for me that I'm like trying to seek out, in that I want the closest thing to making me feel like I've just had a really awesome trip.
Mm-hmm. That has, I made it through, I don't mean I made it through. I listened to about 4 minutes one time of Dirtbag Diaries, and it had a little more of an NPR kind of feel to it. Yeah, nothing wrong with that. I just, again, it's just like, I just don't want to try and I'm just worried that our podcast would sound like another one if I listened to a lot of other outdoor stuff.
No, I agree. And it is interesting because, like, I wonder how people even find us. Like, like sometimes, I don't know, I just tweeted today, like, a big thanks to, it seems like every time I get on Twitter, there's 2 or 3 more people following me, and I don't follow everybody back, not because I'm being a snob, but just because sometimes I think to hit follow and sometimes I don't. But it's just like kind of flattering. Like people, add me, and at the same time I'm like, how do they know about me? Like, do they listen to the show? Do they follow us on Instagram? Did I maybe try and say something funny that somebody else retweeted and they saw that and were like, hey, I'll check this chick out. Like, I kind of wonder how people come to be.
Especially foreign countries.
Yeah.
We have a lot of people that listen to us in Japan.
Yeah.
A lot of people in China.
That's amazing to me.
I'm thinking they're just mining for information in China. But Turkey... I think that's what I'd like to hear from the people in Australia that listen to us, people other than Martin Black and Mr. Bordeaux and his wife.
Yeah.
Find out who the UK listeners are. But so if you're out there, just hit us up on Twitter or whatever, Facebook. Just like to find out the stories behind like, how in the hell did you find us? And did you just find us because of the word puss?
Yeah, what was your magical search? What was the magical search words that brought you to us? Okay. And are we fulfilling that need?
Exactly. All right, so we have a couple of things then on your homework list. One...
On my homework list or on the homework list of our listeners?
The royal you.
Okay. Us? You have homework for us?
Y'all.
Okay.
We have homework for y'all, for our listeners.
Okay.
Movies. Other outdoor movies that we can tolerate watching.
The Hunger Games.
Yes, exactly. Without a Paddle 2. Wasn't there a second one?
Without a Paddle 3.
Oh, wow. All the way up. Was Seth Green in all of them?
I hope so.
God, I hope so. If not, David Faustino.
Yeah.
Yeah, in 2 and 3. The poor man, Seth Green. Did you know David Faustino is a rapper?
Just like me?
No, this dude, you've really got to hear David Faustino. Bud from Married with Children's a rapper. So bring us Bud from Married with Children. Tell us some movies that we might enjoy as far as outdoor themed movies, especially if there's a backpacking one. I like to find a backpacking movie. It's not Blair Witch or something like that.
Yeah.
And 5-star reviews. I'll never stop. 5-star reviews. We love them. Especially also if you can subscribe to our podcast. It's really easy to do. I know like on iTunes, you can just go in under My Podcasts and select settings and say subscribe. And if you subscribe and give us a 5-star review, that really helps out with the weird matrix that they make up to rate podcasts. Get us up past John Loves Carrots. You see that guy whenever you go in there?
Yeah.
John Loves Carrots. Well, one of my favorite things is whenever people are eating on microphone.
Yeah.
This is an entire podcast where this dude, not only does you hear him, but you see him eating carrots and talking about pop culture stuff.
Weird.
Yeah. And let's see. So get us past John Loves Carrots. I think it's a good goal.
It's a fair.
Yeah.
It's good. Yeah. I like that.
Get us past John Loves Carrots.
Everybody needs a goal.
And anything else you can think of?
No, I don't think so.
Sorry, you just had a pin cap in your nose. And
it's a podcast. I'm allowed to put a pin up my nose.
Okay.
Nobody will know except you just blew my fucking cover.
So, if you keep those things in mind, come see us on Facebook, see us on the Twitter, see us on Instagram, and yeah. So, anything else you can think of?
Thanks again, Skylar Moon, for the swag.
Yes, thank you for the cookies and the chocolates, and she's sending us a movie to watch as well.
That's what she said.
Yeah, so she dropped it in the mail the other day.
Super sweet.
Oh, and I don't think you saw this, but Skylar Moon, she met Baltimore Jack. Yeah.
I told her she would.
She was at the ATC with Whitey, and randomly Jack pulls up with somebody, and she got her picture taken. Yeah, and she even posted on Twitter. She said, all I could think of was Puss saying, "You will."
You will.
All right, folks. So we'll see you next time. You will.
If I was a child, I wouldn't give a fuck.